We forgot to cover a couple different cards from the new set before we started going on to like updated decks, and so we are going to go back and look at Electivire EX. This is a card that I like a lot and is pretty interesting, and a card that almost won the poll before, and that's why I thought I covered it, but it looks like I didn't, so we're going to go back and catch up on some of the cards that we missed. This card is really interesting because it has the dual bolt attack where you do 50 damage to 2 of your opponent's Pokemon. This is really nice because it allows you to put your opponent in weird positions and kind of snipe them out. But it also allows you to pair up with other Pokemon that you synergize with a little bit better. But more importantly, you have the high voltage press, which does 180 damage. And then if you hit for weakness against something like a Pidgeot or something like that, you are one-shotting, so that's pretty good. But more importantly, it's that if this Pokemon has at least 2 extra energy attached to it, this attack does 100 more damage. So you're hitting for 280. And having 5 energy on you isn't really that bad because of the fact that you have 4 retreat costs. So we're going to be able to actually save those energies pretty easily by comboing that with the Heavy Baton trainer card or tool card, where if the Pokemon this card is attached to has a retreat cost of exactly 4 in the active spot, is knocked out by damage from an attack from your opponent's Pokemon, you can move up to 3 energy from this Pokemon in any way you like to your bench. So one of the things that's really nice about this is that it allows us to attack with Iron Hands immediately after, because we can move 3 energy and then we just place 1 more and then we can go Ampy very much. But more importantly, Iron Hands also has 4 retreat cost, and so what the strategy of this deck is that we're going to use the Miraidon package. We're going to power up our Iron Hands early on through the standard kind of way to do it, through Electric Generator. We're going to attack with Iron Hands early, use this in order to take, like, hopefully the first 2 to 4 prizes, and then when they make something bigger, let's say a Dracopult or a, Charizard or a Gardevoir or something like that, something that we can't really get over with Iron Hands. Now, obviously, we could attack the other things around the Gardevoir, but, just for the example, we'll be able to go into Electivire. By that point, if they knock out our Iron Hands, we move all the energy over, then we just hit an Electric Generator or like we attach or whatever, and then from there we'll be able to equip our Max Belt and hit for 330 and knock out whatever that we want. The main cards here that we don't have is actually Lavencia, and the reason for that is that the more I played with it, the more I found that I didn't actually need it, because that just gets energy back to my hand, and more often than not I don't need it because I'm running double Heavy Baton. But that's why I'm running Town Store, in order to make sure that I'm able to find my Max Belt and my Heavy Baton as much as I want. You could do 2 Town Store. I chose to do 1 Town Store, 1 Team Rocket's Watchtower. This card is just really, really powerful when it applies. Obviously, you do have to wait to play it before you can use Squawkabilly, but more often than not, we need it in the mid to late game, and so you can kind of combo it with your 1 copy of Iono, or it's just nice to be able to bump your opponent's stadium and kind of have that when it matters. So just be aware of that. It's kind of a timing thing, but you can just make it a second Town Store if you really wanted. We're also playing 3 copies of Boss's Orders. This is to make sure that we're always hitting the targets we want. We obviously run Fez, and then we also run Magneton. This is another reason why I don't play the Lavencia, because you have the Overvolt Discharge, where once during your turn you can attach up to 3 basic energy cards from your discard pile to your electric Pokemon in any way you like. This Pokemon, if you use this ability, this Pokemon is knocked out. So we can also combine this with the Counter Catcher. If we are going second, we will dump a whole bunch of energy, try to get an attack off. If not, and we're, even prize cards, then we can pop the Magneton, move the energy onto the Iron Hands if we discarded them, and then go for a Counter Catcher play, things like that. So there's kind of the main strategy kind of turns of the game. But yeah, that's just about it for the deck list rundown, all that kind of stuff. We'll get into the games in a second. I just want to give a special shout out to the channel members. Thank you guys so much for that additional level of support. It really does go a long way and means a lot, so thank you guys so much for that. For anyone interested in becoming a channel member and helping to support the channel and, like all that kind of stuff, it's really appreciated. But you also get access to videos a little early, as well as access to all of our stream VODs, and we've been streaming a lot more lately. We actually did a tournament in Control Player Unite's, standard tournaments that he hosts So we played in that. I'll be doing a video kind of recapping that later, but if you want to see the entire thing from start to finish, that'll be in the stream VODs and things like that. As well, I'll be talking with Control Players Unite this coming Sunday on stream, doing our office hours. So if you want us to review a deck for you, things like that, if you want to have a chance of being chosen for that, just leave your deck list down in the comment section with the hashtag office hours. Make sure you include the hashtag so it's easier for me to find later. But yeah, that's enough rambling. We'll jump into game number 1 in a second, and I'll see you guys there. Peace. Alright, we're into game number 1, and we're going to be going second, which is optimal for this deck. That's kind of what we really want. Unfortunately, we are going to mulligan here, but that's fine. Our opponent is as well, and the more cards we get, the better. We do see Squawkabilly as well. Ooh, we're up against a pretty interesting deck, actually. We'll have Squawkabilly in the active with our Miraidon. We'll have access to Arven in order to get us our Rescue Board. We're up against a kind of interesting meme deck, but it's fine. We're also playing something that's rogue. We'll draw, we get ourselves a Nest Ball, so what we'll do here is go Tandem Unit to get ourselves this and this. And then we'll Tandem Unit again, and then this is where we're gonna actually check our deck. We have double Electabuzz, double Electivire. We do have a Latias to help us free retreat, but what we really need to find out right now is that we have 2 generator available in deck, so 2 are prize. We do have our Rescue Board. We have 13 energy, not counting the 2 in hand, so that's all of those. We do have our boss's orders as well as most of our researches, and we do have our Magneton into Magneton, or not Magneton, Magnemite into Magneton play. So we're good to grab this, and we'll leave the last bench space open. For right now, actually, I was going to leave it open for Latias, but I actually am going to grab the Magnemite specifically because we do know we have the Rescue Board, so I'm not as worried about it. What we'll be able to do here is go for this. We'll grab Generator and a Rescue Board, because if we hit a decent Generator, we'll be in a great spot. Unfortunately, we don't, but that's fine because we can put this down. Go ahead and attach for turn. We could go really aggro and just kind of go and start attaching to this in case we hit a Generator, but I did kind of figure that we wouldn't, and so I can pass right here, get myself into Electivire where I can start attacking for 180, or what I can start doing is just sniping 50 damage onto our opponent's Coughings and kind of deal with it that way, avoiding the Fezandipiti. Alright, so we get a energy attachment for turn. Make Electivire. Retreat. And then what we can do is go Boss's Orders to pull up the Coughing. Then what we'll do is go Dual Bolt. Just do 50 and 50. That's annoying. That's so lame. The goal here is that we can just pull up this Coughing, force them to have to attach the energy for turn to retreat with, or they're going to want to evolve into Wheezing. They're just doing a whole bunch of coin flips. And so, because this has to be in the active spot, we can just keep ignoring this and just throwing damage onto their bench over and over. And we'll just power up the Iron Hands while we're here. We'll go research. Unfortunately, didn't find our Electivire, or not Electivire, our Magneton. Let's see if we can get past the coin flip this time. Nope. But that's fine. We're about to be able to knock out the Coughing. We'll see. There's a Great Ball for a Mew. We can just boss that up and knock it out for 2 prizes later on. We'll see. Alright, so attach energy, retreat, bring the coughing in. Energy sticker. So is the whole deck just about coin flipping? Like they're just hard gambling? That's really funny, actually. So they restart for 1. What coin flip thing does this do? Alright, we go boss. We'll pull up this, because it has the highest retreat. Then we go dual bolt. Put damage on this. And this, we're at this point, I feel like I'm just ignoring this, because their luck is clearly much better than mine. I like their coin, though. Their coin's really cool. Alright, we now just wait for 1. They didn't attach an energy for turn to this, which is interesting. I feel like they would have. So at the end of the opponent's next turn, the defending Pokemon will be knocked out. Oh yeah, I did build a deck around this. Well, I can just avoid the Mimikyu, so that's fine. We do have a Switch as well, so unlucky day for them. We'll go Ultra Ball here, get rid of this and this, so that way we can grab ourselves the Magneton. We'll place the Magneton down, but we're not actually going to use its ability or anything like that yet. We'll go Dual Bolt. Let's see if we can beat the coin flips this time around. We'll put ourselves to 4 prizes. It's incredible. We will beat out the coin flip at some point, I promise. That card will go down. There's a generator. But yeah, we pretty much just wait on one more. We could go energy. Okay, so that's what we're going to end up doing. We're going to go energy onto the Iron Hands, go for the switch, bring it in, take 2 prizes on to the Graplock. Just because we have to... Oh, we do get the boss, actually. Alright. Let's do it like this. We switch, bring this in, boss's orders, pull this up, leave it to fate. Thank you very much. Let's go! I told you guys, we are gonna get the coin flip at some point. We grab ourselves 2 prizes. And now, honestly, if they if they bring in the Graplock, we just attack and knock it out. If they bring in Mimikyu, we retreat, bring in Electivire, and just start sniping the bench out. So, I mean, this took longer than it should have. But I'm honestly, this is the thing of, like, playing on the ladder right when it resets is such a fun experience because it's like everyone's playing things that are kind of ridiculous. Now, alright, that's not totally true. There are people playing, you know, just donk decks just so they can climb back to Arceus as fast as possible because for some reason that's looked at as, like, cool or rewarding. Like, being able to get to Arceus in, like, an hour. But there's no one to play there. Like, there's no real point. So you may as well just enjoy the process. Like, just have fun, you know, on your way up. Because it takes a couple days. Honestly, it takes, like, a week before people are, like, really in there. So it's like, you just get to Arceus and can find no games. So it doesn't really matter that you know, speed ran your way up there doing donk stuff over and over. because I don't know, it's like a kind of not a waste of your time, but it's like you didn't actually accomplish anything because now you can't even play games most of the time anyway. But all right, that's going to be game number 1. Even though it was kind of wacky, I feel like it was fun, so we'll keep it in, and we'll go to game number 2 in a second. Hopefully, we'll find some meta stuff on the ladder, at least semi-meta relevant. And I'll see you guys there. Peace. All right, we're into game number 2. We did win the coin flip, so we are able to go first, or have our opponent go first. We'll open Fez on either the active, so that way we can look for a way to retreat it out effectively. And that way we can also potentially go Iron Hands, you know, like get a generator on or something like that. We see Cleffa. That's actually going to be a nice card that we can dual bolt down if we need to later on. Our opponent passes, so they don't have much. So that's pretty unfortunate for them. We do see the research. So because we already have research and we're going to end up discarding our hand anyway, what I want to do is go tandem unit to grab these. We do have one Electivire. We have one Boss and Prize. We have all of our generator. We have our max belt. We do have a rescue board. We do have a bunch of energy. The only problem is that we don't actually have the Magneton. So a little bit unfortunate if our opponent's playing Raging Bolt or something like that. Or not Raging Bolt, the Dracopult. It does mean that our Magnemite's going to be a little bit of a liability. But I'm fine having it down for right now. And then what we'll do is we'll go Energy Attachment to the Iron Hands. Go Professor's Research, where we'll get another generator. That's 2. And then what we get to do here is go for the Town Store to grab the rescue board. We also have Ultra Ball if we need it to get like Latias or something. So that works, but then we're going to be able to retreat, donk. And I know I was just talking crap about like donking and stuff like that, but it's like if you're going to do it with poison, you may as well do it with some electric, right? That was obviously we can't predict stuff like that, but it is an option for the deck. So yeah, that's going to be game number 2. We'll keep it in and we'll jump into game 3 in a second, and I'll see you guys there. Peace. Alright, we're into game number 3, and our opponent won the coin flip. We're actually going to end up having to go first. We are going to mulligan here as well, so definitely don't love to see that, but, you know, worse things have happened. Okay, this is maybe the worst thing that could happen. Ooh. I don't know what we're actually up against, though. Well, we are going to... Oh, for a second, I thought the Magneton was a Magnemite, and I was like, well, we're just screwed. But this actually doesn't feel that bad. And going first, this is one of the other things about the Electabuzz that, like, going first doesn't feel that bad with. What we're going to be able to do is we're going to be able to go energy here. I'm going to Nest Ball for the Miraidon, not the Squawkabilly. So that way I can go Tandem Unit to grab myself an Iron Hands and another Electabuzz. Then what we'll be able to do is go Generator, where we do get another energy. We'll throw that onto the Iron Hands. And then on our next turn, we'll research. Hopefully, we'll be able to find a Ultra Ball or our Electivire. So that way we can just start to go for the Dual Bolt, knocking out the Natsu and whatever else they put on to their bench. Meryl. Okay, so it's the Azumarill package thing. There's a Dedenne EX. What does this do? Move all damage counters from one of your bench Pokemon to your opponent's active Pokemon. That's cool. They discard one Azumarill for the Xatu. You will never see that Xatu a day in your life. At least probably not. Alright, it all comes down to this. Ah! Alright, cool. We found Ultra Ball, which is kind of what I expected. We also will have access to... at this point, we can get rid of this, and honestly, we can even get rid of the second energy. Yeah, that's fine. Grab ourselves the Electivire. Place this down. Go Dual Bolt, where we'll do 50 damage to this and 50 damage to the Marill, meaning we will take a Marill knockout, but also if they evolve into a Zoomerl and attack, we will knock that out as well, forcing them to have to go to Dende. If they go to Dende, then we just knock out with High Voltage Press. There's the Azumarill. Energy attached. Interesting that they're playing the Dedenne as the Terra Pokemon of choice. We'll go for the Amp. And, alright, they're going to concede. That's kind of an easy game, and it does show off the power of early game Electivire. So, alright, all these games have been really, really quick, so I don't want this video to go too long, but I've just been having a lot of fun playing this deck, so we're going to jump in and we'll do one more. So, I guess, you know, very long video, but it is what it is. I'll see you guys in Game 4. Peace. Alright, we're in game number 4. Our opponent's going to be going first. We'll go for the... we could... I'm going to lead Magnemite here, actually. We see Squawkabilly from our opponent. We see the Wellspring as well. What's nice is that we do hit this for weakness, so if we can make an Iron Hands, like, that's going to be really, really good for us. Luminous with the Crystal, very good for them. Pokegear for an Iono. I would not have picked that up if they're going to go Squawk, because they're just throwing it away. Like, I don't really feel like that's the play to make. They threw away Flareon and the Iono. I feel like you just wanted to leave that in deck, but that's fine. We see Nest Ball come out. So pretty much what our play is going to be is that we're just hoping this Magnemite lives a turn. We'll go Ultra Ball on the Electric Energy and the Fez to grab ourselves, like, probably Miraidon. Use Miraidon, get ourselves our copy of Electivire and Iron Hands. Go Generator, see how many we hit, and kind of go from there. Because the reality is, like, Iron Hands is going to be super big here. Honestly, we can maybe even skip Electivire in this game. Just go double Iron Hands and look to just Iron Hands the Squawk and the Wellspring. Is probably going to be our path here. Yeah, because Electivire is just kind of going to give up prize cards as well. So what we'll do is we'll get rid of this and this. Grab ourselves Miraidon. Place this down. Go ahead and Tandem Unit for double Iron Hands. Where we know we have Heavy Baton available. We do have Max Belt. Not that that really matters. We have a bunch of energy. We do have our town stores. We can even Arven for Nest Ball as well. But what I want to see is what we get off the generator. We only get one. We can attach here as well. We're gonna go and be really, really greedy. This is objectively not good because we could kind of throw the game here. What we should do is Nest Ball for Squawkabilly here. Yeah, alright, we're gonna do that instead. And then what we can do is still get the Rescue Board. Just so that way we can retreat this out. But then we'll go Nest Ball for Squawk because we can always pick up the Magneton later. Get ourselves a new hand to work with. Unfortunately, we didn't hit the generators that we could have wanted, but we do get the Watchtower, which is pretty important. And then what we can do is just kind of pass from here. If our Magnemite gets knocked out, it is what it is. Obviously, it's a little unfortunate, but it is what it is. We'll be able to go Arven on the next turn. And go Generator. We see attach for turn, retreat. We will lose out on items, but it's not a big deal. Alright, there's the generator we would have wanted. But it's okay. At this point, I am going to make the Electivire. We'll retreat out. We can kind of hold on to the rest of this. What I'll do is go Arven, so that way I can get this, because that will matter. And I'll grab myself a... I'm going to grab Counter Catcher. And the reason for this is that I'm only going to be able to take one prize card here. And if they make Flareon and attack into my Iron Hands and knock it out, they'll be up one prize card on us. That'll let us make... Pretty much what that'll let us do is that we can guarantee make Electivire. And go from there. And then that'll allow us to knock out the Flareon, which is our biggest issue. And then we can always move that over to the other Iron Hands. As well as it does survive an attack from the Ursaluna. They're going to plus up 3 with the Mew. What we really want is our second Heavy Baton. So that way we can Heavy Baton the Electivire. When they do knock it out, we bring it back to Iron Hands, boss up. But we do have a path here. As well as, if we get energy in the discard pile, we do have Magneton to bring it back. So they retreat out, bring in Mew. From this point, we just look for energy boss's orders. A lot of these cards are not really all that useful to us. We'll go for the generator. We get 1 energy. We can attach that to the Electabuzz. And the main reason for this is at this point, we're not going to get Ampy very much damage. We're just looking for the most damage we can get. We are going to just get rid of these because we're going to go research anyway. Place this down. Go research. Where we get ourselves another generator. We get to attach these. And if we hit a switch, we were in a pretty good spot. But unfortunately we didn't. But that's okay. We get to go hit for 160. And what's important is that now this is only 2 dual bolts away from getting knocked out, if that's what we need to have happen. But now we got our Electivire completely powered up, so we can literally move all these energies over to the Iron Hands. So our path is a little different now, but still relatively the same. We come in with High Voltage Press, knock out the Flareon, move in with our Iron Hands, the Wellspring, and that'll close out the game for us. Because we already have boss in hand. And this is kind of the power of Heavy Baton. We see boss's orders for the Electivire. Okay, good play on their part. So they're going to take 2 prizes. But the reality is that we're going to kind of be able to do that all over again. We'll bring these back in the deck. Actually, we'll just do 1, 1, and 1. So what we can do here is actually, we'll attach for turn. We'll go Nest Ball to get ourselves the Electabuzz. Then we'll go Boss's Orders onto the Wellspring, where we can go Amp Very Much, take 3 prizes, and we'll either find another boss here, which we did, so it doesn't even matter, we can just keep avoiding the Flareon. Or what would happen is, like, sorry, I had to burp. Let's say we didn't see the Boss's Orders here. What we'd be able to do is Heavy Baton, move the energy to the Electabuzz, attach for turn. We'd be able to bring it in the active. It would have 4 energy onto it. Then what we would do is be able to go research, and with the cards left in deck, the chance that we find the Electivire as well as the Magneton we had before, we'll pretty much be able to get the attack for 180 off. So we are going to just be able to knock this down. But in this case, again, all that's irrelevant because we get to just move the damage with the the energy with the Heavy Baton onto the other one, go Boss's Orders. So, like, the real thing with Electivire, ooh, they chose not to attack. So, we can still, oh, wait a minute, I'm an idiot. I got distracted talking about Electivire. So I was thinking about making the Electivire play because I was just talking about it and completely forgot the fact that I already had game because I could just boss. Because the Team Rocket's Watchtower shuts off the Ursaluna, so they can't attack anyway. Which is really funny. I kind of wasn't even thinking about that, but that's also super hype, actually. Alright, that's going to be game number 4. That's going to be it for this video, guys. Thank you so much. We'll get into the breakdown in a second. This deck is just a lot of fun to play, so, you know, I kind of want to just keep going, but I also, you know, want to actually not have this video be 2 hours long, though I think the longest video on, like, that's not a stream that I've ever put out was, like, 1 hour and 20 minutes, so, I don't know, maybe this could end up beating it, but we'll see you guys in the breakdown in a second. Peace. When going into the breakdown for this deck, I'm going to give this deck a 6 out of 5 for fun. I love this deck. It's a lot of fun. It's not the best thing in the world, but when it works, it pops off. And honestly, it's like not even that bad. And just being able to use Electivire not tied to the Magmortar is super fun as well. Just being able to play pure Electivire. Electivire is a really fun card, and I think it's also going to get better in future sets, so it's definitely a card we're going to revisit in the future. The idea of being able to snipe, but also kind of like knock out stuff in the bench, it's pretty cool. I wish it was a little bit more bulky, but obviously as a stage 1, it can't be too bulky. But yeah, anyway, going into its power, I'm going to give it a 3.5 out of 5. I like it. Obviously, Iron Hands is at a cap of how strong it can be. Now, obviously, being able to snipe things out and, like, be able to take 3 prizes off of Squawkabilly or whatever, you know, is really nice. Obviously, its power does get capped, but that's kind of where Electivire kind of comes in. But to get it is a little bit of a, you know, a little bit of a task, so it's managing around stuff. So I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5. It's not always hitting the damage you need, but it's normally pretty good. Going into consistency, I'm going to give it a 3 out of 5 as well. The main reason for this is that you can just have pretty bricked hands because you're playing a ton of energy, and you're playing a lot of cards to be able to, like, get this strategy to work, and so sometimes your hands can just be kind of bricked. Cards you need that are kind of frequently prized if, like, you lose out on, you know, your, like, let's say an Iron Hands and your Mandibuzz, or not Mandibuzz, your Magneton and stuff like that. It's like, it can be a little bit rough, but it's overall not too bad. You're able to do it relatively easily when things are working. The other reason why, honestly, I might even make this a 3 out of 5 for consistency is that you are relying on Electric Generator. So, you know, sometimes that goes crazy and other times it just kind of sucks. Going into matchups, your matchups are okay. you're playing Iron Hands, and so that makes your matchups playable. And then, because it's like, if you just pop off early against slower decks, like you just make Iron Hands, you may just get so far ahead they can't come back. And like that's been my experience in testing with this deck in Dracopult matchups, and like even matchups with Guardia, is like you're just abusing the fact that you can make Iron Hands. And that kind of makes your matchups like playable, but they're also not fantastic. So, you know, be on the lookout for that. Certain matchups you need to play a certain way, and then they'll definitely take time to get used to, but none of your matchups are like, okay, maybe not none of your matchups. Some of your matchups are actually unplayable, but for the most part, none of your matchups are like completely unplayable, solely because you can just make 2 Iron Hands and go crazy with the, you know, with the Heavy Baton and stuff like that. But yeah, that's going to be it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching, as always. I really appreciate it. I'll see you guys in the next video. Be sure to let me know what you want to see next in the comment section down below. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Peace.